Branko Terzic is the executive director at Deloitte Center for Energy Solutions, and he joins us now from CNN Washington. Branko, tell us how much of a sort of premium you think the uncertainty surrounding the political situation is, the turmoil we're seeing there, is filtering into the crude prices we're seeing.
It's hard to put one single number on a single event. There's negative news, which is, of course, the Egyptian situation, and those 4 million barrels a day. We're talking about a 90 million barrel world supply. There's also positive news that came out last week. China's economic target is now 6%. Japan has a new Senate, and the government there is considered to be pro-growth. The U.S. bond rating of the United States was raised last week. So you have always these mixture of countervailing events that affect oil prices.
Branko, before, there have certainly been some officials that suggest that oil no longer trades on fundamentals. Instead, it is sort of momentum traders, if you will, and speculative forces that sometimes are at work once it starts moving. Is there a sense that there's any of that putting upward pressure on oil?
I don't think so, and I'll tell you why. Monday, I'm heading for the International Association for Energy Economics annual meeting. Their journal this summer had numerous studies of how oil prices move, and universally, the economists have determined that oil prices move based on fundamentals, on markets, on economies, on where the oil will be used, how it will be used. It is the news of the world that moves the markets rather than speculation. That's pretty clear, I think, now.
Well, that's an important distinction to make. You know, we had heard a lot about the fact that now that you have the U.S. as a major producer with steady supply, that would sort of help even out some of the disruptions that we tend to see from geopolitics. Are we seeing that at play? Is that helping hold down oil, or is that not really working the way some had thought?
Well, the United States becoming a major, increasing its oil production is a very positive factor for global markets. It adds to global supply. It also provides some supply security here in the United States. We don't need as many imports. It also frees up oil that would have come to the United States to go to other countries, making their prices more competitive. So it is universally, I think, beneficial that the U.S. increase its oil production.
Branko, we've already seen gas prices here in the U.S. jump, and that's sort of hitting consumers right in the pocketbook. What can consumers and businesses around the world expect? Are we going higher from here, or have we seen the sort of seasonal bump that we're going to see? We're going to hang around these levels?
Well, keep in mind that crude oil is only about 2/3 of what makes up the price of gasoline. Here in the United States, gasoline prices are pretty much determined by local supply and demand numbers. They're determined by what local refineries can handle. They're determined by the mix of the chemistry in the gasoline. We don't have universal gasoline across the country. So my guess is, and yesterday the Energy Information Agency looked ahead, and I think prices will be stable. We will have these fluctuations in gasoline, but it'll be more to do with local forces, I think, than any near-term run-up in oil prices.
Mm-hmm. And Branko, let's bring it back to Egypt and the impact there in the Suez Canal on oil. What will you be looking for in terms of developments as things play out in that region when we're looking at potential impact on the price of oil? What's most important for us to focus on?
Well, once again, oil moves on news. If there's news that if the perception changes that the Suez pipeline and the canal are less likely to be closed, if the perception is that Egypt will be more stable than maybe one expected, if the military government can receive popular support and stabilize the situation, all of those will, of course, work to stabilize the price of oil and remove some of the uncertainty.